welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. From soul to strategy, helping entrepreneurs build thriving, authentic business. One of her advocacy, no other than Miss Mary Talbot.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Mary, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Sure. So, I'm a business mentor for soulful entrepreneurs. I work with life coaches, holistic healers, all kinds of people that work in the personal development and spirituality fields. I've been doing that for the last 10 years and plus. So, this is my passion, business, but also spirituality. So, I like to work with that clientele more than others.
Miss Mary Talbot, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about the power of TED, empowerment, or the empowerment dynamic. We, I think, the author is David Emerald, if I'm not mistaken. What first drew you to the power of TED and spark your eagerness for the ideas?
Well, I had learned about the victim triangle that says many of us will consider ourselves victim of our circumstances, and someone is bad, it's a persecutor, and someone will hopefully come and rescue us. But David Emerald came up with the alternative empowered view of our situations, in which we are creators of our situations. We can have people that challenge us to think bigger or find solutions, and have coaches that would guide us but not do things for us. And when I heard about that, I just knew I had to buy the book because I really wanted to have his original story on how it began and how he saw it himself. And it is, well, fascinating. So that's why I want to talk about this book on the podcast today.
Fascinating indeed. How did discovering the dreaded drama triangle, like victim, persecutor, or rescuer, change the way you viewed your personal or professional challenges?
Well, I was already working in that new paradigm before I officially learning about it. For example, in sales and marketing, the most common tactic is scarcity. Time scarcity, energy scarcity, money scarcity. Oh, you'll never be happy if you don't buy my thing. That's the gist of it. But with my clientele, with my clients, we are heart based, spiritual, good doers. So we don't like using those tactics. So instead, we lead with generosity. We assume that people are empowered to create the lives that they want to create, and they can make the best decisions for themselves with a little bit of information, of course, but we don't have to do it for them. We don't have to tell them what is right for them either. So I have I was already integrating it in my business and the way I work with my clients, but reading the book really confirmed that that was the right path for someone that wants to do good and elevate the the vibration, the consciousness of their work, more than just trying to cheat people out of their money, which just didn't work for me or my clients.
Very well said, Miss Marie. Very well said. Beautifully articulated. Can you share a specific moment when you recognize yourself in the victim role and how the book helped you to shift to a creator mindset?
Well, it happens almost every day in tiny moments, like just thinking I'm tired instead of I would like to get more rest. It's just a tiny way of voicing things, but um, that either makes me feel like, ah, like, oh no, woe is me. I'm tired. I can't lift my little finger. nothing will save me versus, well, how about I take it easy and I'm going to build up my energy today. Um, and in bigger ways, well, let me think for a moment. I'm feeling a bit on the spot, but I don't have an immediate example. But everything in business, really, we can blame,
Everybody.
the economy, or
Yes.
or we can decide to be innovative, creative, and have fun, find some fun in changing our ways, pivoting, um, trying different approaches, maybe changing who we're talking to, changing anything that would help in our business. We can either feel like we can have a say in that, or oh no, I'm just gonna go cry in my bedroom and hope that things get solved miraculously.
Well,
So
people, yes.
I just read the book recently, but it just confirmed so much of how I have already been living my life and seeing it, that it wasn't a big shift, but I felt that everyone needed to know about it.
Everyone need to know for sure. How has adapting the environment dynamic rock your world in terms of personal growth?
Well, even in personal development, it's easy to go back to our old stories when we were children and how it was all our parents' fault that now we're unhappy or struggling, or
Yes.
they it's so easy to blame them, but that's part of the victim triangle. It's part of assigning blame or responsibility outside of ourselves and hoping that a therapist will magically solve all of our problems. Um, reading that book just helped me realize, well, I'm not a child anymore, and I'm not in that unfortunate situation anymore, whatever caused me sadness in the past, and I can choose to live my life differently. It's so freeing, and it's almost instantaneous. As soon as you get that mindset shift, um, you stop having any attachment to, well, not, I can't talk for everyone clearly, but it's easy to remove attachment and all the stories and the need for attention, almost like, oh, I was so sad. But everyone has had difficult moments in their lives, and some of us just choose to look forward instead of looking back and resenting and regretting.
Yes. People stop complaining, count your blessing. For sure, there's a lot of blessing out there, and you're complaining about something that you have already. And Miss Mary, what's an example of a situation where you turn a persecutor into a challenger in your life, as inspired by the book?
Well, anyone who thinks I'm not good enough for whatever reason, I'm not a good enough mom, a good enough business owner, not good enough friend or daughter. um, well, I could react in an aggressive way and think, well, I'll show them, but also in the more wisdomful way, wise way, I can use them as challengers and really think, well, what's true in this? Is it true that I forgot their birthday, or that I was mean or rude or whatever? Try to take a distance and sift the truth from whatever they might be projecting on me, and then decide if I want to change. Maybe I don't, because I don't care enough about them, or it's not a priority, or whatever reason. Or maybe I do want to change, but I won't take the whole accusation in bulk. I'll just nitpick whatever truly rings true, and then, as everyone else, try to grow and be better.
Try to grow for sure and be better for yourself, and don't care what don't care what people say about you. If you have the passion of anything, please share to the world. How has the concept of a coach versus a rescuer influenced your relationships at home or work?
Oh, at work, well, at home too, both.
Yes.
A rescuer is someone that, let's say well, I have a daughter. So let's say she's trying to cook something and she's not able to not burn the eggs. That's just an example. Well, I can just push her aside and cook the eggs for her, but I'm rescuing her. Basically, I'm doing it for her. Or I can teach her, well, lower the heat on the stove, or now it's the time to flip the eggs, or whatever. And as I coach her and she does it herself, then she learns the skills and knows what to look for, so that next time it's easier and better tasting. So in business, it's exactly the same thing. I can just tell my clients, well, this is what you need, like most of the marketers we view online. This is what you need, and guaranteed success or results, but not always fulfilled. Or, well, let's see what's important for you. What are you trying to create? What are your goals? We have so many ways to achieve them. Which ones are you most excited about or have time to do? Or, there are so many options that let's find the right fit for them. And then, of course, I can teach them how to do something if they don't know how. But the first step is at least to identify where it's not working well and why, so that we can really go to the root of it. And they learn to recognize that in the future too. So they don't always need me on speed dial to run their business. They're learning and they're growing.
They're learning and growing. I like that. Miss Mary, can you describe how the book's simple fable format made its complex psychological ideas more accessible to you?
Uh, Humans are wired for storytelling, and this is just the perfect way to convey that kind of psychological information. Otherwise, I don't think I would even have bought the book, because I don't have a background in psychology. I wouldn't have understood complex terms. But this is a story, and there's a mentor in the story, and he makes drawings in the sand, and it's very simple to understand. And there's analogies and examples, so it's very relatable too. And yeah, relatable in a way that it's speech that we commonly say, not dry scientific speech, but also the examples they give in the book, like life examples, fictional but um, believable. um, I could find some resonance. I don't have the same struggles, like the man in the book struggles with infertility. That's not my problem, but um, I can find stories in the past where I had to grieve, where I was disappointed that it would never happen for me. And I could relate to the way he was feeling in the book. It was much more powerful to read it that way. And I always prefer, um, yeah, those kinds of books, of stories, especially for new concepts that are meant to change the way you view life, actually.
Miss Mary, very well said and beautifully, beautifully articulated. What was your God moment or moment of clarity when reading The Power of Ted for the first time as described by some readers?
Um, I'm not sure I understand your question. What do you mean as described by some readers?
Because some of the comments of the book on Amazon, they saying, uh, this is my God moment when I'm reading this book. So in your experience, what is that God moment that you think, oh, this is the time
For me in
that,
my life, why it
yes,
was impactful at this moment.
yes.
Um, I don't think there was a crisis or a rock bottom moment that I needed to, find the light toward out of. but it's very, very empowering, as the title says, to realize that we can create our reality. And one thing that we have more power into creating our reality. And one thing I was surprised to read about was there's a section about manifestation. And I didn't expect that being a victim or being empowered in your creative power in life would be correlated in that kind of book about manifesting the life of your dreams. But it absolutely makes sense. If you think you can create your life, then you will take action and you'll move closer to the dream of your life, your dream life. And when you're a victim, you either sabotage or already assume it won't work, and you're also manifesting but a sad life. So that was, uh, yeah, nice surprise to read about that. I thought it would only be psychological, but it was nice to see that it was also mystical.
Miss Mary, as a mentor, what are your short term and long term goals?
I just love working with my clients, their discoveries, and the they say the person that learns the most in the classroom is the teacher. I'm learning so much working with my clients about business and their personality and psychology, and also the creative ways we come to solving their problems. It just makes me richer in tools that I can then pass on to my next clients. So my goals are just to continue in that very happy path forward.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Mary, and looking forward for more success. What will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a mentor too?
Never forget that people are empowered to create their own life. So resist the urge to solve things for them and be their rescuer, and instead be their coach, their challenger, if you have that kind of relationship with them, so that they really feel proud of themselves at the end of the relationship. They can have say they can say, well, I did this, the success belongs to them.
Well, thank you for that advice, Miss Mary. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101 Love Letters in third season, and my movie 101 review and music 101 in its fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Miss Mary, can you share a story of how the power of TED helped you transform a difficult relationship or workplace dynamic?
Well, I work for myself, so my dynamics at work are very smooth. But a relationship, I could say, with my daughter, especially because, well, she's growing, she's becoming older and older, and it's time for me to step back and, let her experiment more and more. She's able to get the consequences of her actions. Of course, I'm there for her, but she can do a lot more than I sometimes give her credit for.
Yes, definitely. How do you incorporate the book's idea into your daily mindfulness or self reflection practices to stay in the creator mindset?
Well, since I read the book, it's becoming much clearer when I fall into the victim mentality. It can be very small, like, oh no, it's raining today, but the feeling I have inside my body, that lack of power, I notice it right away. Whereas before I would have just stayed blue. I would have just stayed. Ah, it's a terrible day. But now I catch myself very quickly. So little things often are the ones that I'll notice more. Bigger ones, well, I've already had that habit, I think, for like the economy, for example. I'm never a victim of the economy, but for little things, I they would go under the radar more often, but not anymore.
Miss Mary, can you please explain this phrase on your website? Grow your business with intention. Soulful business mentor for life coaches, holistic healer, and light workers.
Yes, well, it's all about bringing an intention into our work instead of doing things by default or on autopilot or following the trends like selling through scarcity. Well, instead is it's about asking what are our true values, what are the lifestyle and the goals we have to accomplish because life is much broader than just work. And then making sure that we build a business that supports all those goals and values instead of, you know, working and then living for the weekend, which isn't great. And as entrepreneurs, we have a choice. So that's my vision that I share with all my clients. We are, I'm especially fond of life coaches, holistic healers, and light workers. So that's why I call out to them on my website. And the foundation of what we do is how does it feel? Does it feel aligned? Is it a calling? Is it a purpose, a mission? Does it feel good? And we go from there.
Miss Mary, thank you so much for sharing your business to the world. What's one key takeaway from the power of TED that hope listeners will embrace to rock their own world?
Well, I love that they say, you know, it's just baby steps. You don't have to overhaul your whole life. When you find your center and you realize that you're free to do any action as you want. You can wallow in despair, or you can decide to call someone, apologize, or publish your first blog, things like that. Um, they say, well, just do the next baby step and the next and the next. You can have a vision for the future, but really you're going to build it brick by brick. So that's what I hope listeners will retain from the book.
Yes, people, baby steps. And Miss Mary Talbot, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your mentorship, your business, or any projects that you're doing right now?
Well, they can visit my website at delightedspirit.com. That's where I share all the information about free downloads, the blog, my social media services if they want to work with me. That's the most up to date place on the internet to find me. Delightedspirit.com.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Mary Talbot because if you support her, for sure, more and more and more empowering mentoring to come, and for sure, more and more empowering business to come. So, Miss Mary, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much. It was really fun.
More to come, people. See you soon.